Things just got so much worse for the Canucks as the recent Thatcher Demko update has forced management to scramble into damage control with contingency plans. And Frank Seravalli drops a nugget as to why moving Elias Pettersson will be tougher than what people think. We're going to be breaking down all of that in this episode of Canucks Digest. But first, if you're enjoying this Canucks content, you want to join the nearly 30% of subscribers on our way to 7,000 subs, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any of the updates when they drop. And with that, let's hop into the first topic today, which is Demko is week to week again. So we saw here in a tweet from Thomas Drance yesterday that Thatcher Demko with a lower body injury won't be making the upcoming road trip with the team and will be reevaluated when the Canucks return from Seattle next weekend. However, it's not the knee. He is officially week to week though, per team spokesperson. So this is something that we did not want to hear when just days ago it seemed like it was going to be pretty optimistic that Thatcher Demko would be ready to go by the time that we came back from the Four Nations face-off break and go on this road trip and play in Vegas on Saturday. However, that unfortunately does not seem to be the case, as Thatcher Demko is now back on the injured list. And this is exactly what Canucks fans did not want to hear. It is the opposite of what we wanted to happen, because like I said, we thought that we were going to be getting him back right as we were getting back from this break, being fresh and ready to start new. And now the Canucks have had to go into damage control mode, with Patrik Allvin announcing yesterday that forward Niels Åman, Arshdeep Bains, defenseman Elias Pettersson all have been recalled from Abbotsford, with goalies Artur Shilovs having been recalled from Abbotsford on an emergency basis, and goalie Nikita Tolopilo will join the team as a practice goaltender. So obviously the Canucks are a little paranoid, especially with Kevin Lankinen having come back not only from the Four Nations face-off in general, where that's going to wear down on his body, but he's coming off of a really bad performance against Team Canada, where Team Canada was able to stay alive. We're playing against the Americans tomorrow night, but Kevin Lankinen did unfortunately have a very poor showing there. So now the Canucks, maybe that hurt his contract price tag a little bit, probably not too much, because at the end of the day, he's still winning hockey games for us on the Canucks. That's what matters, not in an intramural tournament where, yeah, bragging rights matter and all that. However, it's not trying to win a Stanley Cup when the wins actually matter. So him coming back into Vancouver, it's probably just a matter of making sure that he's not worn down too much after playing, and making sure that if they do have a war of attrition going on where he maybe isn't at a fully 100% coming off of that break, then they have to go to one of these prospect goalies where, hey, you guys are getting the start. Let's see how you do. Likely it will be Shilovs in that sense, not Tolopilo. But if Shilovs comes in there, he has a chance to really redeem himself, because he has not played since early on in this season, where it was a rough showing for him. Came in off of a really hot playoff start last season and then kind of fizzled out as people were really kind of picking him apart and knowing what they can exploit as far as his weaknesses went, particularly shots through traffic. Now, as far as Thatcher Demko is concerned, this is something we're going to have to be monitoring very closely, because while it's not the knee, it might be an entirely new injury that we haven't seen with him before. Could be the groin. We've seen that as well before with him. So can't rule that out entirely. However, happily that it is the knee and not that unique fluke injury that he did have coming into this year, where even the most skilled doctors weren't able to diagnose it, and it is such a rare injury that hadn't been seen for decades, it seemed like, because of what it was causing to him, how long it took to diagnose it, and everything that went with it. So now, even more injury problems for Thatcher Demko. But what do you guys think on it? Are you guys worried about this at all? I know I definitely am. Do you guys think that he'll be on a 2-week basis? Do you think it'll be a little bit longer? Or do you think this will ultimately land him on the IR? Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments below, and let us know if you guys are confident enough with Artur Shilovs potentially getting a start on this road trip. Let us know down in the comments below, but that's going to take us into our second topic of the day, which is too tough to move Petey. Now, in the 3 games with Sweden, Pettersson failed to record any points, and in their final game of the round robin against the United States on Monday, had less than 10 minutes of ice time, which was the lowest amongst Swedish forwards. While Elias Pettersson may be off the trade block after the JT Miller trade, it doesn't look like there would be much of an appetite for any team wanting to acquire him before the deadline on Friday, March 7th. Now, with his showing at the Four Nations face-off, there was a report that went out that the flu was sweeping through the Sweden locker room. So that maybe could have been a factor on the ice time. Maybe guys were getting worn down, dehydrated, they couldn't really go. Maybe he was a victim of that, or maybe it was something else entirely. I know he didn't really do anything of note in the tournament, So a lot of people are picking him apart with that. But Frank Seravalli, he was at it again on Hawthorne and Bro, talking about Elias Pettersson and the trade prospects with him, saying, I think that's becoming harder and harder because think about what I just said and the risk of taking on that deal with that term and that dollar amount remaining. The other part of this, and this came directly from a rival GM, it would be hard for anyone trading and giving up significant value for Pettersson to feel good about the deal. Everyone can see his play. They understand whatever they've internalized, whatever issues have gone on with this team internally. I think there is significant trepidation. I really do. Now, there's a lot of ways that Canucks fans can feel about this. You can feel really good about it in the sense that, hey, at least we know that Elias Pettersson will be staying in Vancouver, at least for the foreseeable future. He won't be getting moved because it just is too long of a term and too big of a contract to bring on for any other team that isn't the Vancouver Canucks, because they're the only team that seems like they have the significant cap room to deal with that. I know Columbus is one team that very, very much could go out and get Pettersson and take that on if they wanted to. But again, that is a very hefty contract, and with the way that he has been playing, everyone can see it, like Frank said. As much as I hate to agree with Frank Seravalli on here, this is one where he's not wrong on this. He's definitely on the nose where, yes, teams are watching this. They see that there's either something going on the ice, off the ice, or mentally with him. Something is not right in Denmark, and they need to fix it. Whether it's Elias Pettersson, whether it's the Canucks, something has to happen in order for not only Pettersson to get back to the way he is, but in order for him to potentially have trade stock again. And I hate saying that because I definitely think the Canucks need to keep him. As much as everyone's going to roast me in the comments for it and everyone's going to have their own opinions on it, I still think that Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson are the two guys that you build around for the future of this team. Brock Boeser, hopefully he can stay along for the ride on that one. But with those two guys particularly, especially when we lost JT Miller, we lost one of the core four members of this team. If we lose Brock Boeser, that's two. We want to keep at least two of those guys intact so that we can keep this team chemistry and this leadership alive and this Canucks core, really. That's what these two guys are. They are the pillars of this team, and they're the ones that can try and lead the Canucks to a Stanley Cup one day. I know Elias Pettersson hasn't really looked like that, and I know that everyone's going to don't talk about what he did 2 seasons ago or last season. It's what have you done for me lately? And yes, he hasn't done much lately, but keep faith, and I still think there is some time for him to get back to the way that he was in some respect. Is he going to get to those numbers that he was at last season? Absolutely not. That's a far cry away from that at this point. However, he can still get to a shred of that and get back to being productive, get back to moving his feet, get back to getting points on the board, and getting back to getting pucks in the net. But all it's going to take is him getting shots on net, and that's the biggest thing. Everyone talks about with Petey how he doesn't shoot the puck enough, and that's the thing. He holds on to it too much. Something happened over the past season or so. Maybe it's an injury, maybe it's that he's sick, or that he just doesn't trust his shot enough. But this is a guy who has one of the best shots in the NHL when he's at his peak. When he's rolling, that puck is just firing on all cylinders. That's what Vancouver needs. And since February 1st, 2024, he has recorded just 19 goals in 97 games, including the Stanley Cup playoffs, which simply isn't good enough for someone making 11.6 per season. Everyone is just harping on that number. It's the number that we see the most in the comments, and it's the 5th highest cap hit in the entire National Hockey League. So yes, there's a lot of risk and not a lot of reward going on right now with the Vancouver Canucks. But this is still a long deal. There is still time to kind of wait this out. I know with $11.6 million per season, that is a lot of money to be spending just to kind of wait it out and hope that things take a turn for the better. But again, it's not like we don't have time. We still have time with Petey for him to turn around. I know everyone's going to hate me saying that. Well, when is it going to happen? Is it going to be next game? Is it going to be next season? Is it going to be in 2 seasons from now? Who knows? Hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. And that's what we want, and that's going to lead to us winning hockey games. Think of how we're hanging in there right now. If Pettersson gets going again, Hughes comes back just clicking on all cylinders like he usually does and probably will, Brock Boeser gets back to the way he was. If those 3 guys can get back to clicking on all cylinders, this Canucks team can really go on a little bit of a push here and a serious run to steal that division from the Edmonton Oilers, from the Vegas Golden Knights, and anybody who gets in our way on that journey. But that's going to do it for this episode of Canucks Digest. Let us know what you guys think of Frank Seravalli's comments. Do you guys agree with him for once, or do you guys think that he's still acting crazy? Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. But with that, I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.